Welcome to Black and Gold Today, brought to you by Cadillac of New Orleans. I'm Rachel Whittaker. Though it is just a preseason game at Baltimore, let's talk about some critical matchups for key players. With that, we welcome a special guest, Baltimore Sun Ravens writer Jon Meoli. Jon, nice to see you again.
Good to be back.
Well, the Saints defense has undergone a total overhaul since the Ravens torched them at home last year. Justin Forsett's nearly 200 yards really stick out in my mind, but draft picks like linebackers Stephon Anthony and Hau'oli Kikaha, and some huge offseason signings, Brandon Browner, for example, give the Saints a new look. So, your thoughts on how the Ravens may test them offensively to start the preseason?
Well, I guess for the Saints players and fans, they might be happy to hear that Justin Forsett might not be prominently involved in this. Usually, John Harbaugh lets his starters play a series, maybe two, if the first series is a short series in the first preseason game. But otherwise, they're going to have a veteran backup in Matt Shaw playing a real bulk of the minutes out there. The Ravens have a ton of young wide receivers who are going to try to test that secondary you mentioned, guys like Kamar Aiken, Jeremy Butler, DeAndre Carter, an undrafted rookie free agent out of Sacramento State, Darren Waller from Georgia Tech. All these guys are really fighting for those back end of the roster spots, and I really think that even if the starters don't play a lot, there's not going to be much let up between the first and second team when the Ravens make that switch on offense.
Definitely. The Saints have some, of course, the built-in starters at cornerback, but the depth there, guys trying to crack the roster. We know a local product named Delvin Breaux. He might have a shot to sneak in there. So preseason, a time for everybody who's on the bubble to really show what they've got. And we'll have more with Jon right after this.
What's one of the nicest things that comes with your new Cadillac from Cadillac of New Orleans? 0% interest.
Get 0% interest on all new Cadillacs, now at Cadillac of New Orleans. New owners, new attitude, on Lime Street in Rye in Metairie.
Welcome back. Well, Jon, Saints first-round pick Andrus Peat has really struggled with his conditioning during training camp, lining up mostly at tackle and some at guard. Now, he'll of course have a roster spot, but a few other undrafted Saints are in the mix. So, what's the status of the Ravens' defensive line as a first test for them?
Well, as of Tuesday's practice, the Ravens only had 6 active defensive linemen. Second-year man defensive tackle Timmy Jernigan was out with a foot issue that will probably keep him out of the game. And then a couple of depth guys, D'Angelo Tyson and Christo Bilakidi, were both out. So it's going to be interesting. It's not like the Ravens are thin on talent in the defensive line. Everyone who's healthy, Brandon Williams, Chris Canty, reserve Lawrence Guy, those are all really talented players. But it's going to be interesting to see how they manage the snaps on that. Canty's been in the league for a dozen years, so he's not really going to be a guy who's playing more than a handful of snaps in the first preseason game. Pete and all those undrafted guys are definitely going to get tested, but you wonder late in the game whether some of the Ravens are going to wear out playing a little more than they normally would want them to in the first preseason game.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what both teams have achieved so far in training camp. First preseason game, kickoff 6:30 Central Time. Jon, thanks for joining me again.
Thanks for having me back.
And don't forget to follow me on Twitter, everyone, at RachelW504 for links to every show. See you on game day.